Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome again to the Living with Lupus radio show. This is your host, Deborah Dixon Kinzer. I am calling, I'm sorry, I'm on here because I want to talk to you guys about getting involved in your own health care. Okay? Now, when we go to the doctor and we talk to them and everything, we just give them some brief information. But do you ever really talk to your doctor? Do you ever tell him what's going on, what your concerns are? Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, what I did when I first got my doctor, it was basically like a job interview, okay? So, I told him what my concerns was at our consultation, and I asked him to please look into what was going on with my body. Okay, so the very first thing I told him was I would like a complete physical examination. He asked me, why did I want a complete physical examination? And I told him because I hadn't been to the doctor in a long time, which was true. Okay, and I needed to find out if there was more going on than what I actually knew, and I needed him to find out what he knew to see if it correlated with what I knew was wrong with me. Okay? Now, I didn't just go to any doctor, and it took me a while to find a good doctor here in North Carolina, where I am in Fayetteville. And the reason being is because I've always had specialists, so I looked for a specialist. Now, it's really hard to find a specialist nowadays, so what you really want to do is you want to find out what field the doctor's in, okay? So usually they say they're a general practitioner, but they may have a specialization, which is the key to finding out what's going on with your body, okay? So, like I said, I talked to him. I asked him specific questions, first about the physical, letting him know I wanted a physical. I asked him how long he had been in practice. I asked him, what type of patients he normally gets. I also asked him what field did he specialize in. Now, I got pretty lucky because I got a gerontologist. Now, a gerontologist is a doctor who specializes in older people, okay? I was the youngest patient he actually had, and he loved the challenge of having a younger patient because of the simple fact is that he got to do his study, okay? Now, what does that mean? That means that he studies the human body, okay? Because his specialization was in the gerontology, specializing in internal medicine. So with the older people, he gets to, he knows the body to where, okay, if they're having a heart attack, he can literally look at them and tell if they're having a heart attack. But when you get a younger patient in, okay, and they come in with the symptoms of a heart attack, is it easier or harder for them to understand that that's what's going on with your body? Well, I got to put it to a test. Not that I wanted to, okay, but because a situation actually came up, and it actually occurred on my 50th birthday, which was kind of crazy, but I didn't recognize the signs or the symptoms, okay? Well, I kind of recognize the symptoms, but not the signs, because I used to be a first aid CPR instructor, okay? And the signs for a heart attack is the pinging in the chest. You get the tingling down your hands, you get the sweating, perspiration, and heavy breathing, okay? Well, I didn't have those signs. I had the perspiration. I had pain in my back between my shoulders for 3 days straight. I didn't take it further than 3 days. It was hard for me to breathe. So every time I breathed, it was hurting in my back. It didn't hurt in my chest now. My left arm did not tingle, but it was in my back. So I called him up on the phone, and this is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was just getting ready to close. And I told him, hey, look, this is what's going on. These are my signs. These are my symptoms. Something's wrong. Do you want me to come in, or do you want me to go to the hospital? He said, please come in and have somebody drive you. Well, I didn't have anybody to drive me in, so I drove there myself. And upon arriving, he looked at me and he said, I'm going to put you on an EKG. Now, see, this was important because I didn't know what was going on with me. And he wanted to be absolutely sure of what was happening, so he placed me on the EKG, which was a great thing. Okay. And once he did that, it confirmed that I was having a heart attack. Okay. So this is why it's important to, interview your doctor when you're looking for a doctor to help you, to find out what's going on with your body and everything. Lupus is the most important thing that I can see that you need a specialist for, but then there's other chronic illnesses that would require the same thing. Okay, so you would have to really determine what you're looking for in a doctor, just as you would determine on who you would hire for your company or your business, or even when you go to an interview, for a job. You think about the questions that they give you, and these are the same type of questions that you want to give to your doctor to get the best care to help you. Okay? So this is one way of getting involved with your health care, is by asking the questions, having that conversation with your doctor, making sure that everything that your concerns are about, that doctor will be able to cover. And if he can't cover it, what kind of specialist will he send you to? Okay? Even though he is a geriatric doctor and everything, I did also ask him about his outside resources and who he would send me to for different situations that could come up. And trust and believe that my doctor gave me the best care, even though he was my main doctor. He made sure that any other doctor that saw me was specialized in the field that I needed, and he sent me to those people to make sure that I was taken care of. So another example was when my stomach had swollen up really badly, and I knew that I suffered, with female problems, so it was endometriosis. And he found me a doctor who specialized in women's care, and he made sure that he took care of me. Now, when I went to him, I stated my concerns and did the same thing with, my OBGYN that I did with my primary care doctor. I interviewed him. And when I gave him my concerns, he told me the series of things that he was going to do to find out the causes of my pain, number 1, the swelling, number 2, and number 3, if there's anything that can be done to rid me of them. Now, to make a long story short, because this is going to take longer than the 10, 15 minutes we have here, he gave me a complete workup as a gynecologist and everything, and then he found the source. Now, once he found the source, we had to take different steps in order to find out how bad it was, how many tumors I was carrying, and everything, and how large the tumors were. And then he scheduled me for an immediate, and I do mean immediate, surgery to remove them. Because at the time, by the time he got to how serious it was and everything, now remember, this took time, for all of this to happen. We was in an emergency, in a critical situation where I was dying from all these tumors that were collaborating within my body. And it was so many tumors that, he was scared that I wasn't even going to make it to the surgery. Okay? But I did, and I thank God that I did. And I am here to tell you my story, but I'm also here to help you figure out what your story is, get through your journey in order to find out what's going on with you. How do we take care of it? How do we get involved? What's the steps that you can take to find out the situation that you need to find out in order to get the help that you need to save your life. Okay? So, I'm coming to the end of my broadcast and everything. I hope that you enjoyed what you heard today. I'm just here to educate you and to help you find the course of action that you need in order to get the help that you need, as I stated before. I can be reached on Facebook. Okay, you can find me at Living with Lupus Online Video Magazine, and you can send me a message if you like. I am on Instagram, and my handle there is lupus_gurist. Okay, so you can send me a message there if you'd like, or you can follow me. And I am on YouTube. Okay, so all these recordings go onto YouTube, but I also have videos on YouTube that you can view, and that is Living with Lupus Online Video Magazine _the real life. Okay. Where else can you find me? You can find me on Twitter at Living W Lupus Mag. I think that's what the call letters are on there. Okay, so if you'd like anything that you heard, please follow me. Subscribe to my channels, to my website. My website is Living with Lupus magazine.zohost.com. Okay, so you can find me there too, and you can follow me here on the Spreaker.com and everything. You can subscribe to the channel, or you can have it to broadcast anytime that we come on. So again, my name is Deborah Dixon Kinzer. I am your host for the Living with Lupus radio show, and I hope to see you next Friday. We try to come on every Friday at 9 p.m. If for some reason I don't come on the radio, it's probably because I'm traveling, and that would be the only reason why I don't do a live show. Okay, but I will come on at the first opportunity I can if I miss the 9 p.m. deadline as Eastern Central Time. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Again, my name is Deborah Dixon Kinzer, the host of the Living with Lupus show, and I hope to be seeing you soon. Bye.